Welcome everyone, week 5 standard action now between Dylan Magika and Lorenzo Somma, two players that are actually competing for the division titles. This is a very high stakes matchup. Amazingly, I had to double check this, but this is the first time I've had Lorenzo on camera this season. So he's one of our top level Patreon contributors. He's played since around season 3, and he's also happens to be the defending modern champion. He won the division last season. No, sorry, not the defending modern champion, but he won the Division 1 modern title last year. Dylan, of course, is a regular. He's the one that filmed this, so he came up with this absurd resolution. I suspect he's got his resolution turned up way too high. You have to squint to see those life totals. But Dylan is the defending standard. He's won the standard title twice, and he's undefeated in standard this season. He's playing this Nexus deck. And Lorenzo looks to be on a more traditional Sultai midrange deck, I'm guessing, based on the lands that he's played so far. Yeah, I'm not sure what resolution Dylan has chosen here, but it just seems to be absurdly small. He's going to be able to play Nexus of Fate next turn if he floats the mana. And here's a Vraska. So this Vraska doesn't do as much damage on an empty board when there's nothing to sack. Well, it's just as I say that, it takes down the Guild Summit. But Dylan's drawn another one handily. So he's got two options here. He can either play the Guild Summit or he can float the mana, which is what he's going to do, and play out the Nexus of Fate. So he will get another turn. Doesn't hit another Nexus, but not a big deal because it goes back to the hand. He's going to be able to play out a Guild Gate here and draw a card. And gets another Guild Gate, so he's going to draw another card. As his Hydro Crassus is a card advantage, so that thing's... Well, that's timely. Vivian Reed. I didn't actually know that Vraska can take down enchantments, but it's super handy to have these two planeswalkers because they both do the damage. This Hydro Crassus is going to have one counter on it. Oh, 3 counters, sorry, and draw one card, which is a Circuitous Route, which is going to draw more cards again. But the first Crassus is coming down on Lorenzo's side. The way that Division 1 is structured in terms of the points at the moment, you really cannot afford to drop. There's about 4 or 5 players that are within 3 or 4 points of each other at the top. And unfortunately only 2 plus a possible wildcard. The wildcard's not guaranteed. It could go to Division 2, but based on how the points look at the moment of recording this, I don't think Division 2 can get the wildcard. They're about 12 to 15 points behind that spot. So Division 1's probably going to get 3 players in the finals. Dylan, I believe, with a win here, can lock up a final spot. So here's Vivian plussing. There's going to be a good source of card advantage. Dylan's game plan here doesn't work as well when he doesn't have the... Obviously doesn't work as well when he doesn't have the Wilderness Reclamation that can untap for that Nexus of Fate to work. You can see he plays this on... he plays it on Lorenzo's turn just to increase his chances slightly of drawing it again. Now, Gates Ablaze is going to clean up this battlefield, but particularly if Lorenzo runs out more incubation, I think it's called a Chamber Guardian. He goes after Vivian here. Vivian's the one that can take down enchantments. But no gate to get him the cards this time. So he's going to Lava Core the Growth Chamber Guardian now. And I actually did the Crisis, so I'm a bit surprised by that. Chooses not to use the gate because it will take down his own Crassus. You can see Vraska now. Well, this card, Hostage Taker, suddenly got very good. I mean, it was always good in Standard, but it got exceptionally good now because it can steal this Hydro Crassus. Likewise, Entrancing Melody is a good one. It can steal the Crassus for only 4 mana. Growth Chamber Guardian. I'm squinting my eyes to see these cards. But this is the one that you can pay 3 to adapt, and when you adapt you get to search for another one. Just doing the math, you can see Lorenzo's at 23, so Explosion's still a fair way off. 2, 4, 6. He can do it for 7 at the moment. But this is a good board for Gates Ablaze. Going to clear it all up. Get back his Hydro Crassus. The Crassus will just die because it has it enters with no counters on. And he's going to take down the Golgari Queen just to clean the board up. So you think on a clean board here, well, this is card advantage here for Lorenzo. Fire and Finality, he's going to get back 2 creatures, but on an empty board, you'd probably favour Dylan with his Crassus and his ability to draw extra cards through the guild summits. But you can see he is looking a bit land flooded, so he's going to look for something to do with these lands. Probably a guild summit is what he was after, but he doesn't find it. I think if he finds another Wilderness Reclamation, this one could just about be over. Expansion Explosion is up to 8 now. I was going to go to 10 with these two. Or he's going to play a Monster Hydro Crassus next turn. And it looks like that's the path he's going down. You can see that deck is looking very thin now. I can't quite see the number. It looks like about 28 cards left. And here comes a huge Crassus on the other side. With 8 counters on it. So an 8/8 Hydro Crassus. Yeah, I don't know why the... Okay, he's got the Guild Summit now. He's at 18, potentially taking 14 here. I wonder how he's going to play this one. It'll be interesting. He's going to tap a number of cards here to draw. Draws into nothing, amazingly. So many lands he's pulling. This is a chronic land flood. 2, 4... He's got enough to play the Nexus. And that Gates Ablaze is going to clean the board up. So I think he's got this one wrapped up. I'm curious to see how many Nexus of Fate he's playing in this deck, because I can't quite see when it comes up. He's drawn another Nexus of Fate. You can see he's got 2 Expansion Explosions. He's got the Wilderness Reclamation, so this is going to be absolutely huge, this next one. And this is kind of the snowball happening now. This one's over. He can just keep doing this, looping this over and over again. He's in no rush because he's got to get 20. I mean, he doesn't even have 29 lands, but halve that because of the Wilderness Reclamation. He's got to get 25. So as long as he's got 16 lands, he can do the damage. 17 lands, sorry, because he's got to pay 4 and then do the damage. So it's 17 lands. I'm not even going to count. There's miles more than 17 there. See, 2 Wilderness Reclamation triggers here. This is going to be a concession. Lorenzo not one to concede so quickly. There's 2 ways actually he can win this. 34. Lorenzo's at 34. He can either just straight up do the damage to the face, or he can also make Lorenzo draw the cards and deck him. And so we go to game 2. Once he flashed his win con, that was it. sure what Lorenzo's going to bring in. Probably hand disruption, like in terms of duress. Or there's a thrashing Brontodon, certainly handy in green colours. You can see the Guild Summit on the other side. You'd think duress is going to come in here. I don't know if he's got any. Well, I was going to say he's played that out on an empty board, so no red source on the other side though. Actually, he does now from the plaza. Oh, I'm a bit surprised he didn't just lava coil that thrashing Brontodon. Now Vraska's going to clear the way, take down that Gatebreaker Ram. In comes 7 points of damage, 2-turn clock. He only has 2 gates and he's going to concede pretty quickly there. So we'll go on to game 3. He needed to get to 4 gates, so it would have taken 2 turns to get the gates required for Gates Ablaze, and he didn't have 2 turns to do it. I've seen quite a few times when I play against this deck on Arena, I can have a 4-powered creature and then they miscalculate thinking their breeding pool or something like that. That is a gate, and they only have 3 gates and the Gates Ablaze does nothing. It's quite funny. But you can see a more. I don't know if this is a more creature heavy build he's gone for this time from the sideboard. 2 Gatebreaker Rams in the hand. My guess here is that he's sort of taking the approach of playing no creatures so that Lorenzo would side out his creature removal and then bringing them in from the sideboard. That's just a guess. I couldn't really tell from looking at it previously. And there's a Disdainful Stroke, so that's certainly a sideboard card. But Lorenzo doesn't have the pressure on the board like he did in game 2, so he's got to sort of get something going pretty fast here. And a 2-1 Ranger is not what you want. It's going to easily be mopped up by that Lava Coil. Well, he's not even going to bother. Gatebreaker Ram's going to play defense. But again, you can see Lorenzo, he's up to. Here's a Threshing Brontodon, but that's a perfect target now for Lava Coil with the Guild Summit in hand. He's up to 5 lands and he hasn't done much. We haven't seen any duress or anything. We've seen the Disdainful Stroke at the sideboard, so I'm a bit curious what he kept from his opening hand. And very nice situation there for Gates Ablaze. Lorenzo dead on board now, so Dylan remains undefeated in Standard.